Hello, Freeride fans. It's Mark Warner here. Welcome back to the Freeride Guide podcast. This has been a big week. We launched the show. This episode, the athletes, the wildcards, and the rookies for 2024 was supposed to be the second episode, but a lot has happened this week. We've already released 2 emergency podcasts. Bakira got canceled. Verbier got announced. Katie Anderson blew her knee out, and so she had to step back. We've reported that it looks like Tiffany Peritan will be replacing her. It hasn't been confirmed yet, so we're waiting to find out from the FWT. But it's been quite a busy but exciting week in the world of the Freeride World Tour. We're glad that you're here. A lot of you have been sending in emails for our segment, The Backslap, where you can tell us that we blew it, we backslapped on a point or a take, or you send us some questions, we answer them, we talk about it here on the Freeride Guide. We're having a lot of fun with this show so far. This episode I'm putting out now. Like I said, we held off on it because we had a lot of things change in the last week. So there's a few things within this episode that may be obsolete now, but we're keeping it together because it's a lot of good information leading up to the first event of the Freeride World Tour, which will be in Verbier in about 24 hours from the time I'm recording this. Not long after, I will be putting it online. The reason it needs to come out today is because you need to know who the athletes are, the wildcards, the rookies for the FWT 24 season, because you need to put in your picks for the Peak Performance Fun Bet. And we want you to join our league. We've created the Freeride Guide Podcast League. So we're all going to play against each other, and it's going to be a good time. And I know that the Peak Performance is giving away prizes for winners for each week, and then an overall prize. And we may be doing the same just within our little group, our little Freeride Guide Podcast League. I learned a lot about all the new riders in this episode myself. All right, so once again, as I said, we recorded this before all the news came out, but we want to get it out to you now. So please enjoy, and we'll talk to you on the other side. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the second episode of the Freeride Guide, the only show that does a deep dive into the world of ski and snowboard freeride competitions. Today, we're talking Freeride World Tour, specifically the athletes that are going to be competing this season. We're going to be talking about the wildcards. We're going to be talking about the returning athletes. We're talking about the rookies. My name is Mark Warner.
I'm Derek Foose.
And we're glad that you're here. So, as you know, this is the second ever episode of the Freeride Guide. So we want to ask you right away, go to the podcast app that you're listening to this on right now and hit that subscribe button. And if you want, give us a review. 5 stars would be great, because this show is going to be great and you're a big part of it. During the course of this new show, we're going to be doing interviews with athletes. We're going to have special guests, special guest pundits, people who know about the Freeride World Tour and freeride competitions. So make sure to stick around, hit that subscribe button, and we're going to talk about all the different categories. But with the rookies specifically, we want to explain how they get on the tour. And that's through the Challenger Series.
That's right. On both sides of the Atlantic, there is the Freeride World Tour Qualifier Series and the IFSA Qualifier Series. Those 2 series on each side will propel athletes into the Challenger series, again, on both sides. So there's a Region 1, which is the Freeride World Tour Challenger. There's the IFSA Challenger. 3 events.
But there's a Region 1 and there's a Region 2.
That's right. Region 1.
Geographically.
Yes. Region 1 is Europe and Oceania, which includes New Zealand, Australia, Japan, and all of Europe. Region 2 is North and South America. So they're split by those divisions. Freeride World Tour governs Region 1. IFSA governs Region 2.
Really? I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. So each of those regions has their own pyramid, their own ladder to qualify athletes to the Freeride World Tour. So, the beginning of the pyramid is the juniors, and then Freeride World Tour and IFSA qualifier series, and then on to the Challenger series on both sides. So that's where your top athletes from the qualifier series qualify up to. Region 1 this year has added a 4th event to their Challenger Series. Region 2 running with 3, and the top athletes in each division, ski, snowboard, men and women, will qualify onto the Freeride World Tour. So that's where all these rookies have come from.
So basically, the rookies work their way up through the ladder. After the cut, the Freeride World Tour riders drop back down. They all meet at the Challenger, and then those 4 events in Europe, those 3 events at the moment, 3 events here in North America, will then decide who becomes a rookie on the Freeride World Tour.
Yep, exactly right. So that's where the rookies are coming from. So they are seasoned. They've kind of put their time in, and with the system of the Challenger, if you're coming out of the qualifier series, you are going head to head against those cut Freeride World Tour riders. So you really have to prove your worth if you want to get yourself onto the tour. And for the cut Freeride World Tour riders, if there are hungry up and coming qualifier riders that have, put themselves into those spots in the Challenger, if you can't beat them as a cut tour rider, well, guess what? You don't get your spot back.
Right. And then, so this is the 3rd year of the Challenger, correct?
That's right.
If I'm not mistaken. And I like that a lot better. I think it's really exciting putting those riders that didn't quite make the cut to the ones that want to take their place. Like that just makes the sport more exciting to me, honestly.
Yeah, and ultimately the outcome is providing tour ready riders at the top level.
Right.
At the pointy end of the spear, which is what everybody wants at the pro level. They want the best riders who are the hungriest, who are ready to go, who are going to put down runs that everybody wants to watch, that they can feel proud of.
Right. And to touch on that, last week we talked about the cut. Now with the new event, which we talked about, the cut's after 4 events rather than 3. So now the people that wind up in the Challenger are going to be a little bit more properly placed, right? So you have athletes that may have had a couple crashes, like you mentioned, Michaela Davis Meehan. She won an event and she crashed out in 2, and then she got cut, right? So she may or may not, she probably shouldn't have been in the Challenger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
so
it's so hard to say.
I just think that the people that should, I don't even know how to explain it, but I just think it seems more right with that extra cut. The chances of you being where you belong, I think is what I'm trying to say, is a little bit more likely to happen.
Yeah, and we can revisit this after the cut and see exactly who's where,
right,
and what they did over the course of the season, both on the qualifier level and at the Freeride World Tour level.
Right.
And see who's going toe to toe in the Challengers.
Right. Okay. So we've established how they get to the tour. So every year there's a handful of rookies, and we're going to run through all the different categories, and we're going to touch on the rookies and then the wild cards, and then whatever other things we think we need to talk about. So we're going to start off with the snowboard women. Yeah. So are we going rookies first or wild cards first?
We're going to go rookies first. Anna Martinez, a Region 1 rookie, French rider out of Chamonix, definitely laid it down in the Challengers last year. She is, I'd say she's kind of part of an exciting new wave in the snowboard women category. Her riding's really strong, but she's also got a deep bag of tricks. Are we going to see those on the Freeride World Tour? I sure hope so, because she's got them under her belt, and I think the snowboard women, that category is ready to see some explosion.
It's wide open. I think it's not even what I think. It's a fact. The snowboard women category has the biggest opportunity to make some moves.
Yeah, big waves.
Right? So there's so much room to improve there, right? The riders that we've seen in the past, I think, have held back a little bit, right? We haven't seen, I don't think, the level of what is capable yet. And every year it gets a little bit better. Everyone gets a little bit better. I want to see a big breakthrough this year for snowboard women.
Yeah, I think it's coming. The talent is certainly there. It always has been. But the to touch on what you said, the riders were strategic because it made sense to be strategic. there wasn't a lot of sense in a
that we spoke about last week.
Yeah,
right,
in a
right.
small field,
kind of taking your foot off the gas a little bit, just because you're playing the numbers game.
Totally. And if you go ham and fall, as we saw with Michaela, it doesn't pay off. So I think we're going to see a shift in mindset with 4 events. You can go all in and really put all the cards on the table, and I'm really excited to see that from the snowboard women. And I think Anna Martinez is going to be a big part of that. Young, hungry, from Chamonix. She's really good friends with Marianne Erti and rides with Marianne in the mountains around Chamonix and Mont Blanc. Like they're enormous peaks, and so these big faces are not going to be daunting to Anna, and I think she's going to be a real big presence on
she's
the
got a mentor like Marianne.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to find a better mentor than that in the snowboard world.
Right. All right, who's is she the only rookie this year?
No, we've got a Region 2 rookie, Erin Sauve. Erin was like the ultimate underdog story. She started out in the 23 season on the 2 stars, dabbling in freeride competition, and she won everything she went in.
So let me ask you this. In order to get to, so there's several categories, right? There's freeride competitions that are 2 stars, which were people that are just kind of, like you said, dabbling. Entry level. And then there's the 3 stars and then 4 stars. How do you work your way up? Like, can you just enter a 4-star, or can you just enter a 3-star?
No, you have to qualify in via a seeding list. So your points allow you to access events at various levels. So 2-star being the entry level, you have a couple good results in a 2-star, you might be able to get into a 3-star or even a 4-star.
And did you have to apply for this? Is it so you're on the IFSA board, correct? Yep. What's your role within that?
I am the chair of the coaches committee, so I fill the coaches chair on the IFSA board of directors.
Okay.
So I got a pretty good idea of what's going on particularly in Region 2, and then I've got my nose in the game in Region 1 as well through my role with the FWT as a commentator.
So in order to get to a 3-star after you've done a couple too, you just submit your application and you hope you hope you get approved? It's like applying for college or something crazy?
Yeah, it's a little bit more straightforward than that. You register, and then the back end software sorts the registration based on seeding. So if there's going to be 15 snowboard women in an event, the 15 highest ranked snowboard women that registered get in.
Oh, okay. So it's just done straight on achievements.
Yep. It's entirely merit based. So at the 2-star level, while it is seeded, there are many people that are completely unseeded registering.
Right.
And so they just fill it based on when you registered and if there's some seeded riders coming in.
Right.
And that's the route that Erin Sauve took. She registered for a couple of events for some 2-stars. She got in, she won. Her points went up quickly, with a couple of wins right off the bat. Then she got into a couple 4-stars, she won. So now she found herself in the Challenger Series, and Erin Sauve swept the Challenger Series. Win, win, win on the tour. Just like that in 1 year. So it really shows that talent and results and merit will elevate the riders to the top of the game as they progress in their game, in their sport.
That sounds eerily similar to the path that a young man named Max Hedvig took to get to the tour. Just kind of winning everything. Every time he went into something new, he ended up winning it, and look where he is now. Yeah,
so Erin Sauve is a really exciting prospect for the Freeride World Tour because she dominated Region 2 in 2023, and now she's on the tour. She's riding at a Roslyn, Red Mountain, and she's, again, really exciting. She's super strong, good edge to edge. She's awesome on her board, super passionate about snowboarding, which I think is going to be really fun to watch. That, at least in my opinion, that tends to translate into the riding. When you've got that kind of stoke for it, you're definitely going to it's just going to look fun. If it looks fun, the judges like that, the audience likes that. It's just a lot of fun to view. And at the end of the day, that's what this is people watching other people ride and then tossing some numbers at it. So yeah, I'm really excited to see Erin Sauve, another strong Canadian rider, following the footsteps of Katie Anderson.
Absolutely. Speaking of Katie Anderson, the returning champion, she is going to be, you know what's funny is like she's going to be gunning to hold on to her title. I don't know if she's going to be gunning for everything. She doesn't really have that. She's just like, all right, I'm going to go there. I'm going to win. I'm going to do my best. She doesn't have too many highs, too many lows. She's just pretty even keeled, and she loves to snowboard. But I don't know if she's going to come in and be like, I'm going to make sure I defend my title. I think she's just going to be like, I'm just going to come in and do my best and try and win again.
Well, she's certainly a humble champion, that's for sure. Yeah,
yeah, like there's like you know what I'm talking about? It's like she's not like dedicating her summer to like making sure to defend my championship. Yeah. She's just going to like go in and compete as best as she can and then see how it happens.
You know, Katie to me is kind of the like exact blueprint of the difference between process goals and outcome goals. Your outcome goal is Freeride World Tour champion, and you can make that goal, and you should, and then you stick it on the wall. But the process goals are what get you there. What am I going to do today to make that happen? Well, today I'm going to go riding, and I'm going to work on my edge to edge transitions, or I'm going to work on going fast, or I'm going to work on tricks.
Backside threes.
Yeah, exactly. And Katie does that. She goes out, and I don't think it's nearly as methodical as that, but she goes out and she develops her riding. She works on it inside out, top to bottom, from tricks to steeps to the technique. And when it comes to competition, the process goals are, what am I going to do in this run? What am I looking at? Where's my line going to be? How am I going to showcase my style of riding on this face? She does that. Well, the outcome happens then. The outcome is a win, another win, another win, and a title, right? It all comes together through the process. And I think Katie's great at that, about kind of breaking it down piece by piece and just giving each piece its full effort at the right time. And then the big stuff just kind of falls into place, which I love. I love that from an athlete, from a coach's perspective. It's a great way of looking at it and of kind of going into a season, and also of just looking at riding like that. I think and clearly the proof is in the pudding. She's the champ, so can't really argue with it.
Right on. Wildcards for snowboard women.
Well, yeah, the wildcards are exciting. We've got Nuria Castan-Baron, Spanish rider. She's back.
She's kind of one of those that go back and forth.
Yeah, we've seen Nuria on tour a couple of times, and we've seen her have some success. She had a podium at home in Bakira the first year that we ran there. So she's certainly very capable, and she was runner-up in Region 1. So Freeride World Tour kind of making a commitment that every year they will take at least one of the runners up from either category, or from either region onto the tour, to really start to grow the snowboard women's field. You know, more riders equals more competition, equals a stronger field, equals just better across the board. So Nuria has earned herself that spot, and she was real close to Anna at the end of the Region 1 Challenger Series last year. So she's got her spot on the tour for this year, and she's, I think she's going to be pretty hungry to prove that she's in the mix. She's one of the big dogs, and a podium on the Freeride World Tour, she has that. If you get it once, you can get it again. Absolutely.
All right. So, like I said, I as I said at the beginning, I think that there is the most room for growth within snowboard women, and I'm hoping to see it. With what you said, I think there's a real good possibility of that happening.
Well, and we've got this year another wild card that's kind of from the I guess the classic wild card category of find a sick pro and slide them onto the world tour. Melissa Krawczyk, she's a U.S. rider. She's ridden at the highest level, all over the place. Film parts, she's in the backcountry, natural selection. Like, Marissa is the real deal, and she's a really exciting prospect because we don't know her in the freeride world. We know her in the snowboard world, but we don't know her in the competition freeride world. And those wildcards to me are some of the most exciting, because
you don't really know what's going to happen. Like this, look at some of the celebrity wildcards we've had in the past 3 or 4 years. Have any of them really excelled?
Well, there's been both sides. I mean, we saw
Tanner Call came in and he got a podium in his second event in Japan.
Yeah, Nils Midnick won the title as a wild card. But
his brother came in and didn't quite do the same. We had Tim Durkee, which Lexi DuPont for all of the ski side. So I don't think I'd like this. I don't really know what I think about it. You get these big celebrity names in, and I know they kind of come in and they want to really prove themselves. But I think that's really a testament to like the skill and what really happens on the tour. Like these are some of the biggest names in their sport, and they've created that name for a reason, on merit. And then they walk into this world, and it's like, holy smokes, like this is something different.
Yeah, there's nothing given for free, that's for sure. The wild card comes, and then you gotta back it up. So Marissa's going to be looking to do that, and I certainly wouldn't bet against her, but it just adds the like real wild card nature to a wild card. We're like, what's going to happen here? And I think it's going to be really exciting to see, because there's a huge possibility that it could be absolutely epic, or it could be a real struggle. Comp riding is definitely very different than film riding, and you don't get a second chance to do one run. So you got to lay it down right in the moment, regardless of the conditions. And the other women in the field are sharpened veterans at competing. So yeah, we'll see how Marissa stacks up in the snowboard women's field.
So next up, we've got the ski women, and with the wildcards, we got a big one.
Yeah, Hedvig is back.
Hedvig Wessel is back. To be honest, I am shocked, but also not at all. Like kind of half and half, right? So, she left and started really leaning into her film career. She went to Alaska last year. She was in the Head film, MSP. Like she's getting a lot done.
Yeah, she did her own film project,
the Headspace, which you had a little cameo in. But that kind of talks about her history of competition through the Mogul Tour, like World Cup Moguls, and then the Freeride World Tour. And I've spoken to her a lot, and when she left and she went and made her announcement at the end of RBA 2022, I was chatting with her. She had her friends around her, and she was at peace. I'm like, this is, you know what you're doing. Yeah. Like, you are comfortable with this decision. And then, seeing her have all this success into kind of the film world and that sort of style, I was like, yeah, you're good. You've done this. You're going full on into that. And then when I heard the announcement that she was returning, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense too. You know what I mean? Just because I know how fierce a competitor she is. So I actually got an opportunity to connect with her in Vancouver. There's a new Peak Performance store that was opening, and they showed her film. So I took her aside, and we had a little chat for 5 minutes just to talk about her thoughts and her motives for coming back.
Welcome to the Peak Performance store here in Vancouver, brand new.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, you've had quite the year?
Yeah.
2 years, I guess?
2 years, yeah.
Well, I wanted to get you on to kind of catch up with you a little bit, but mostly to talk about a decision to return to the Freeride World Tour.
Yes.
Which is really, really exciting for fans of the Freeride World Tour, but I can see for yourself as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about kind of the last couple of years really quickly. Freeride World Tour. You spent a few years on the tour. You really pushed the boundaries of what's possible. I'm thinking that giant backflip in Japan, which really kind of was like, oh my God, that's happening now. And every year kind of got better and better. I remember that last event that you did in Verbier, when you decided that you no longer wanted to compete, and you looked really at peace with your decision. You were there with your friends and your family, you had a smile on your face, you're having a good time, and now you're returning.
Yes.
So I kind of want to talk to you about some of the decisions that went into that or some of the thoughts that went into that decision process?
Yeah.
Why to return?
Yeah, that was a long process for me. Well, I felt good about that decision after 2022. I was like, no, I'm over it. I need a break. I need a breather. I need some space. This is a lot. Like for me mentally and physically, I was just exhausted, honestly. And it was tough to like over and over and over and over again, just like not feeling that I'm not succeeding. And
is that like per event sort of thing?
yeah, or like per year, you know, it was like 3 years in a row where I was second. And I felt like I tried to change to make it better and change to like to get it right. And I just didn't get it. So I was just like, oh, there's so much more to Freeride that I want to explore. And I feel like now is the time. So I was just eager to like go full into filming and then see if I can, you know, really go back to Alaska and like do the best I can possibly do.
But we're here in the Peak Performance store in Vancouver, brand new store, because you're showing your film Headspace, which kind of, I'll do my best to summarize it. It kind of is about showing kind of the setbacks and struggles and sacrifices and what that looks like within competing. Just kind of what you alluded to that kind of burned you out. And it's a really honest, earnest look at like this is hard and it sucks. It's the very not Instagram view of that life, but put together really well. Can you talk about the film a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So when pretty much like the day after Burbia, I was like, okay, shit, what do we do next year? And I need space, I need headspace. And then kind of like that film came into mind already. So I thought about, you know, creating or just showing the real side of like how I felt throughout the years. And I have footage for my whole life, you know, from Hertra and the moguls and the Olympics. And I just felt like it would be cool to make or to show my whole story and to show why I am stepping out. Because I feel like my community, you know, they see me as a competitor or like a competitive skier. And I am. And I mean, that's why I'm going back as well. But I wanted to show that it's more to this than just that. And it was fun to tell that story and to find all those pieces that has made it difficult and also beautiful.
In making that film, did part of like re-examining all of those stages?
It was very painful.
Fair enough. But moving through it, I guess, was almost kind of a form of therapy. Then did it reignite that spark to be like, I want to get back into it?
No, that was not why, honestly. Like when I watched the tour, like I was suffering when I watched my film and the competition elements and watching it over and over and over and over and again. And like, it still hurts. It still does. And I was not keen. It doesn't make any difference for me when I did that. But it was when I was about to finish the film and my manager was like, okay, what are we doing for next year? And we started discussing and we kind of like, you know, that wound, we opened that up and we started digging. And we're like, okay, actually, what do I really want? And I felt honestly like last year was so beautiful and fun and Alaska was sketchy as fuck and like super heavy. Yeah. But except from that, I felt like I was on holiday, you know, like I felt that I was just, you know,
wasn't that the purpose? Wasn't that the
I mean, I don't know what the purpose was. I guess it was maybe, but it was not enough for me. You know, I would still want to like feel that I'm pushing myself and that I'm like taking those steps, and it just was too mellow. And I don't know if I was just unlucky with like conditions and the people and where I went and what I did, but I mean, Alaska was for sure not mellow in any way, but everything else felt like, okay, I need some adrenaline. Yeah. I need some power. You need
something to really focus.
I think this year going back to it, I will really feel that difference. If it's like, okay, yes, this is actually what I want, or I just need to find the recipe of a film world for me, you know? And still like going into filming and doing that full time or like for the whole year is so different than doing it in between competitions. And I think I just needed to see, okay, I actually need to plan.
Because filming was fun. but you were in competition, so you always were kind of rushing to do your filming and get it in.
Yeah.
But it was almost like a nice little. Now you realize it was that nice little addition rather than full thing. You kind of need both.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm already talking about the film projects for this year and trying to see how I can combine that with the tour. So we'll see how it ends up. But no, I'm excited to go back on the tour and be back in the structure and.
You missed it.
Yeah, I think I missed it, and I also missed the people and just being part of that community, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to come back actually to Europe and just go back to Engelberg and Innsbruck and just practice and ski and have fun and push myself.
Well, thanks for sitting down with me.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck, and we'll see you this winter.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a little bit of what she had to say. And, I want to hear your thoughts on the Justine versus Hedvig. So Justine came on the tour last year. She was on World Moguls, which I think Hedvig was a real reason why she thought, maybe I can do this too. She comes in, she wins, right? Now, I wonder, is that some motivation for Hedvig to come back? And for one thing, I'm really excited to see that head-to-head.
Oh yeah, I mean we've got Hedvig, who's really good at competitive freeride.
Very good.
Has, the however many you want to count, multiple biggest backflips from women in competition ever. At event after event, we've seen highlight reel stuff from Hedvig, and we've got Justine, who is new to the freeride world, with a title already under her belt, and really probably hungry to show the best of Justine. So it could be just a backflip off, which I'm pretty excited about. I think we're going to see both of these women going hard to find places to showcase their tricks. We've seen it in ski men. We're seeing it in ski women too. If you want to be at the top, the freestyle element needs to be a big part of your game. Both of those women have that on lock. So to see it now come head to head with the two of them is just going to be so sick. Really exciting.
It's so exciting because they're both on the same sponsor. They both have the same path to freeride. One influenced the other. One was successful but didn't quite reach the pinnacle that they were searching for. Like, the storyline here is really exciting.
Yeah, Hedvig coming back is such a great thing for the freeride world tour.
Great thing
for it all. It's going to add like a real flame to the whole thing, which I think everyone's going to enjoy the benefits of watching these things go down. And there's certainly more than the two of them in this field right now.
Right. So who else we got for wildcards?
Well, we're looking, injury wildcard. We've got Lily Bradley coming back, which is just
Lily, nice,
an absolute bundle of fun. I mean, she's an event winner. Lily's like
kicking horse.
Yeah, Lily's fun to be around, but you can't underplay the skill that's there and the competitive drive that's there. She's hilarious to talk to. She's a blast to be around. She's a huge advocate in sport and in life for the LGBTQ community and all kinds of just for people, really. I mean, she'll fight for anyone at any time. Like, anybody who is underrepresented, Lily's in their corner. But let's not forget that Lily Bradley is still a Freeride World Tour winner. She is extremely good at this. Like, she's missed a whole season, so she's going to be firing to get back at it.
Yeah, so last year she hurt her knee right before the first competition in Bakira. And then was just in Europe, hung out for a bit, and she's actually not a bad announcer either.
Yeah, she joined us in the booth in Andorra, and it was it wasn't hilarious. It was awesome. Her insights into what was going on into the athletes' minds were so sort of. It's
a nice, refreshing take. It's not like yourself and Anna have your experience, and you can speak on what you're seeing based on that experience, and hers is so much different.
Yeah, and way more inside, behind the curtain,
right?
You know, the real look
as an athlete versus
what's
like
going on,
as a coach or
what's
as a pundit,
going on in
right?
the head of an athlete in those moments.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's great to have Lily in that role. But I'm going to be totally honest. I'd way rather see Lily competing than in the booth with us.
Yep.
We do have a couple more wild cards. French rider Manon Lowski, injury wild card. She was injured before the first event last year.
She was supposed to be a rookie on the tour last year.
That's right. Didn't take the start gate at all last year.
So she's kind of both.
She's a rookie and a wild card. She's another peak performance rider and recently picked up that Red Bull helmet. So Manon Lowski is exciting. She's got huge tricks. You know, you watch her film projects and even her training. She's been skiing a ton with Max Palm, tossing double backflips willy-nilly. Manon is a real kind of fox among the chickens here. I think, you know, she's young, she's hungry, and she's awesome. So really excited to see what she's going to bring to the mix. And then Polish rider Zuzanna Witek coming back as a wild card representing Poland. She was really close on the Challenger Tour last year, so really excited to see her back in the mix as well.
Fantastic. And rookies, who do we got?
Region 1 rookies, we've got Astrid Chelou riding out of La Clusaz. She was a kind of fixture on the Junior Tour, Junior World Champ. Only 2 years on the qualifier and Challenger Tour, and she's straight onto the World Tour. To me, hallmark of her skiing is speed. She's so fast all the time, everywhere. So that's going to be really fun to watch. And then a non-rookie, Sybille Blangeon.
They're calling her a rookie?
Well, she's qualified from the Challenger.
She's also winner of the Verbier Extreme. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's not a rookie. Like, I think they got to change the names.
It's a stretch for sure.
They got to change the names. It's not a rookie. Find a new word for it. Just be like a returning athlete or like something along those lines. Because, like, in the past it kind of bugged me, but for this one, like, you've won the Verbier Extreme. She's from Verbier. You're not a rookie anymore. You're just welcome back on the tour kind of thing.
Well, Sybille's back, and
sorry, I had to get that out. Like, that's always bothered me.
No, for sure, and I'm stoked to see her back. She goes hard. She's definitely in great shape. She's super strong. She's motivated, and
she's been on the tour for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, like, she's a solid addition. But you know, you get cut, you gotta earn your way back, and she did.
Yeah, exactly. So like, another reason not a rookie is she got cut, went to the Challengers, made her way back on the tour. You know, all that, what you explained earlier, everybody working their way up through the 2, 3, 4 stars, then to the Challenger, and then you battle against the people that make the cut, and then those riders have to prove that they deserve to be back. Well, she absolutely did.
Totally. So we got one of each. We got the true rookie in Astrid, and we got the returning shredder in Sybille. Both of them going to be...
He tried so hard not to say rookie.
Yeah. And then we go over to Region 2, where we have 2 true rookies. We've got Taylor Dobbins. Taylor, was really strong on the Challenger Tour and kind of battled it out through the
Where's she from?
Tricky conditions. She's from Vermont.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does she live like out west now?
Well, yeah, she went to school in Denver, so she's been living in Colorado for a bit. But I'm sure she's going to be waving that Vermont flag hard as an East Coaster. We've seen some real strong Eastern riders on the Freeride World Tour over the years, and I think Taylor will be no exception. And then in ski women, the rookiest of all the rookies has got to be
the rookiest of all rookies
has got to be Lydia Nelson. Lydia competed last year at the Freeride Junior World Championships. So she was a junior in the 2023 season. She immediately transitioned, as you can when you're 18 years old, after Junior Worlds. She went right into the adult world.
Because the Junior Tour ends, and then there's still a few events after, like, the World Junior Championships.
Yeah, and you can choose not to do the Junior Tour that season. You can just do the World Champs, and then when you're a junior, the first time you do an adult event when you're 18, you are no longer eligible to compete as a junior.
Right.
So Lydia stayed junior until World Champs. She went there. She had an okay result with a 9th. And then she went right into the adult tour, and with the points she earned as a junior, was able to get into the 4 stars, where she was able to do enough to qualify into the Challenger Tour, where she won 2 of the 3 events and punched her ticket to the World Tour. unbelievable, like
That's a really cool
Cinderella story.
That's a really cool route. Yeah, so we were just speaking about Aaron Sauvé, who just comes through and pummels everybody and wins and wins and wins. And then we've got Lydia Nelson, who kind of is approaching it from like a strategy point of view. I don't know if that was kind of a strategy or not, but it sounds, the way you've described it, maybe sounds like it. I'm going to get enough points so I can get into this just as a backup. You know, I'm making sure I'm not leaving anything to chance. I'm making sure I do everything I can to get into this next stage. And then when I'm there, boom, let's go.
Yeah, and she just walked right into the adult competition and won 2 of the 3 challenger events and is now on the tour. She's 19 years old this year, so will be the youngest rider on the tour, and she's no joke.
Is she even younger than Marcus? Marcus did the same sort of thing last year too. Straight from the juniors, got a quick wild card onto the Freeride World Tour, and then just proved himself.
Yeah, again, 19 in the mix.
Interesting. There's a lot of young kids on the tour right now.
Oh yeah. The tide is definitely shifting towards these up and coming, very recently graduated juniors, and she's exactly that. So really excited to see what she can bring. I think for Lydia, the pressure is going to be big. Some young kids get overwhelmed by the pressure. Some young kids are like, oh, who cares? This is just more competition. I've been doing this since I was 12.
Right.
So really, it's this ski women's field is just stacked with talent, and I think we're going to see fireworks from top to bottom.
Very cool. So that's the rookies. Any other riders that we kind of want to look out for? Well, there's a lot. Like, I'll tell you, you can't ever turn your back on Molly Arbenino. If there's anybody who's a wild card without actually, like, she's not a wild card, but she's a wild card. Like, you never know what Molly skis lines that no one else thinks of.
Yep.
Right? So, like, it's those lines where it's like, if you're a little bit to the left, it's either... She excites me and scares me at the same time. I love watching her ski because it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Don't go over there. Why? Oh my God. You just did that. Holy smokes. And she'll see something that everyone looks at and is like, no thanks. And she'll smash it. She'll slay it. And then she'll come out the bottom. So Molly, definitely someone to keep an eye on. Megan Batan, who finished 3rd overall last year, proved that she is a cat and will land on her feet.
Yep.
Proven in that unplanned unplanned 360 in Fieberbrunn.
Yeah, but got herself a win in kicking horse. Like, Megan Baton is she's there to play. She's looking to win events. Addie Rafford, first event on the Freeride World Tour, took a win. She's just got that like aggressive gracefulness. It's kind of super smooth but charging
and steezy at the same time.
Yeah. There's again like no different than any other field on the Freeride World Tour. Ski women, anyone can win if it's their day.
Right, and to be honest with you, I've said this 100 times. I think it's probably my favorite event. It's my favorite category in the tour.
Yeah.
And this year I think will be another step up.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Like you were talking about Hedvig's and her backflips, that sort of thing. When she was on the tour, backflips, things were getting pushed. Ariana Takomi, when she was on the tour, like there were spins and backflips, and then last year it seemed to be that there was a bit of a step back. I think the only one that was attempted was Justine's in that first competition at Bakira.
Yep.
So maybe this is a case of progress isn't linear, and we can really see some fireworks from these girls.
For sure. And last year was so hard with snow and stuff.
That's true too. It was so terrible.
I don't think you can lay that one on the field. I think we'll lay that one more on the conditions. But I think if we have the right conditions, we're going to see a lot of these women really, really introducing freestyle into their riding as much or more than we ever had before, and I think that's going to be really exciting to see.
Nice. Now, we're kind of halfway through here. We're going to get going with snowboard men in a minute, but part of your job as the broadcast announcer, one of the voices of the Freeride World Tour, along with Anna Smoothie, is you got to know things about these.
I know some things.
You got to know some things about these riders, about these skiers and these snowboarders. And you've been telling me that you've been making calls. You said, hey, I got this guy. We had a chat the other day, and you're like, oh, that guy's on next up on my list of people to call. I was like, what are you talking about? And so you were telling me that you are reaching out to all of these new riders to kind of get a better idea of like who they are and what they're all about.
Well, it's really important for Anna and I. So we split the field with the rookies and wildcards. She'll talk to the ones from Region 1. I'll talk to the ones from Region 2. Time zone makes it a little bit easier.
Right.
But yeah, for us, I think it's really important that we tell these riders' stories the best way we can. And to do that, we need to know them. So, it's not really like an interview so much as just a phone call,
Just a chat, just, hey, what's
totally,
going on? What are you up
get a
to,
bit of rapport, start to get to know them, know where they came from, know what their hopes and dreams are and what's driving them and motivating them and all that stuff, really, really like look under the hood and see what they're feeling, what they're afraid of and what they're excited about and all that type of stuff. Like it's, I think it's really important for us to know them well.
Do you have anything specific that you ask every rider?
Not really.
What are your hopes and dreams?
Yeah. You want to talk about your feelings?
Yeah, right.
No, it's really just a conversation. I do like to know where they're from and kind of what's been the push.
Right.
But other than that, it's pretty conversational.
And I guess too, as a coach who pays attention, like through coaching you pay a lot of attention to a lot of the 2-4 stars, the juniors specifically, so a lot of these names and a lot of these kids and as they come up, so you do already have that initial familiarity with them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of them that on the Region 1 side I've met at the Freeride Junior World Championships over the years, and on the Region 2 side they some of them came up through the junior ranks, so I got to know them there. And then the ones that are coming from outside that world, it's really cool to kind of hear their pathway, because while it's getting more and more regular or usual for athletes to come out of the junior ranks into the qualifiers and then move on to the Freeride World Tour, that's not everybody's path, and for those that it isn't, it's kind of cool to see the way they got there.
Right. Get to know them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it helps on the broadcast, right?
Well, it's critical.
Yeah.
It's totally critical. If I don't know the people at all, like, our storytelling is going to be terrible. So I want to give them the credit that they deserve. They earn their way into this spot. The least that Anna and I can do is tell their story well.
Right on. Cool. Moving along. We're rolling here. We've got snowboard men. Wildcards for snowboard men. There's a big one. A guy that is no stranger to the Freeride World Tour, Mr. Victor Delarue.
Oh, man, how sick is it to have Victor back in the mix? He's a multi-time World Tour champion. He's a multi-time champion in Verbier. He's kind of the epitome of the Freeride World Tour for snowboard men, and probably even transcends a category just for riders.
Do you think the winningest family of the Freeride World Tour, him and Zav?
Ooh, yeah, maybe.
Because we've had a lot of siblings and family members on, men and women's. Like, we've had brothers, we've had brother and sister, we've,
twins
a few times.
Yeah.
Right. So I wonder, are they? Do you think? I think they're the winningest siblings on the tour.
I think so. Yeah, and it was really fun to be in the broadcast booth with Xavier Delarue for Victor's win on the Bec des Ros. Zav was just so pumped, like maybe as close as he could be to winning himself, watching his little brother do it. So Victor's he's so well-rounded. His freestyle is really, really good. He can spin both ways. He's got backflips on lock, but he's maybe even more so just so comfortable in big terrain. He's studied under his brother, who is kind of or one of a very select few true legends,
Hall of Famers.
Yeah, exactly, of big mountain snowboarding, and so for Victor to have that as his kind of touchstone, as his keystone in snowboarding, it's almost too much.
Or his motivation.
Yeah, all of those things.
Right?
Yeah, all of those things. Filling those boots and stepping it up. Adding freestyle into places where his brother was, pioneering, and now Victor's in the same terrain but throwing tricks.
And those are big boots to live up to. That's a big name to live up to, and he's done it in spades.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So
he's created his own name.
100%. Yeah, he's not Zav's little brother. He is in his own right headed to the Hall of Fame in this world. And for everybody else in the snowboard men category, I think it's equal parts excitement to be in the mix with Victor and fear of being in the mix with Victor.
Yeah. So moving on to the injury wild cards, there's one that I'm really looking forward to seeing back on the tour is Cody Bramwell.
Yeah, it was hard to see Cody go down with injury last year. He is always one of the most exciting riders on the tour, UK guy.
2022, it was a three-way. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
Between him and Camille and
BMO, Blake Muller.
Yeah, and it was an exciting battle. So having him back in there, he's going to be competing for that top spot every event. That's exciting to me, and he's such a good dude.
Yeah, he's just so much fun to be around. He brings a great energy to every event. He doesn't wear it too seriously. He takes it seriously, but he doesn't let it kind of bleed through to his personality. He's never kind of like shrugging off fans or conversations with people. He's unbelievable with the fans. Little kids are like loving being around him, signing helmets and taking people for rides and stuff. He's just so fun to be around. But man, his riding is incredible. He's so much fun to watch. He's willing to really send it. He'll go huge. He's in his first year on tour, he didn't want to be known as the backflip guy because he felt like that would be like a weird pigeonhole for him to fall into. But he would always do these enormous backflips, and then the following year, that sophomore year, where he just kind of embraced it and was like, well, I'll flip anything. So
yeah,
and he did, and it had pretty solid success. So yeah, stoked to see Cody back in the in the category.
If you follow him on Instagram, he's had some really unique like little film clips that sending it down that snow covered like fuel pipe or like that pipeline, like I don't know if it's a gas pipeline, but he's like bombing down a pipeline. They were showing some video of him the other day like grinding some wall of some building. Like fun to watch. Fun to watch on social medias, but also on the Freeride World Tour, which I'm excited to see him back. And we've got one more.
Yeah, Gabriel Bleton. He was supposed to be a rookie last year. He qualified in through the Region 1 Challengers, and then he got seriously injured before the season even started and was unable to take the start gate at the beginning. So he's going to be really motivated because he missed an entire year on the tour and of riding. So I'm really stoked to see Gabriel back in the mix and see what he can bring to this category, because it's fierce, and so many of the returning riders are super solid. So yeah, I can't wait to see Gabe in the snowboard men's category.
All right, snowboard men rookies. Who we got as rookies? We've got a handful.
Yeah, we got two from each region.
We got another non-rookie rookie as well. Let's start with him. We got Hugo Serra. He's back.
Yeah, not a rookie.
Not a rookie.
He's been on tour. Another one earning his way back through the Challenger. It wasn't the immediate on-off. He had a full year out. And then back into the Challengers, and proving himself. Hugo, French rider, living in Verbier. He spent a bunch of time in Whistler, previously working for the Whistler Valley Snowboard Club as a coach. Mm-hmm. He's a great spirit and just like head over heels in love with snowboarding.
Yeah, he put out a great project, video project just the other day as well. It was called Out, and you can actually go and watch that on the Freeride World Tour website. It's on that homepage. You can watch that, as well as a really cool film from Max Palm, which he filmed last year, which we'll get to when we get to the ski men. But back to snowboard men and the rookies. So we got through the non-rookie Hugo Serra. Stoked to see him back. Who else have we got?
Then Timmy Schroeder. So he's been kind of a mainstay on the qualifier and challenger tour, and really cool to see him crack through that ceiling and actually get himself onto the Freeride World Tour. He's been close a bunch of times. German rider, really, really strong. And Timmy's just been like right on the cusp for a while, and so really cool to see him break through, find what it takes to win through the Challenger Tour. Him and Hugo coming through this year, so he'll be exciting to watch because he's a true rookie, but he's not that new to competitive freeride. So I think he's kind of coming in already seasoned. He's been around the tour. He is actually dating Nuria Caston-Baron, so he's been at a bunch of the stops as a cheerleader for for Nuria, and now on his own right in his own.
This is almost like extra motivate. Like, I better win, man. Like we can hang out more.
Totally, yeah. He gets to stay part of the snowboarding power couple, and put his own stamp on the Freeride World Tour.
Yeah, just like Jackie and Raina before. It's so much easier when you know who your roommate's going to be. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's good. All right. Well, I'm excited to see that. And we've got who else? Warren Doyle.
Yeah, so from Region 2, our two rookies, Warren Doyle and Brian Stenerson, they're kind of the two opposite ends of the spectrum. Warren Doyle, young buck, roommates and like besties with Michael Mon. So he's coming on already with like a really close friend on the tour, which is everything. Having a little bit of familiarity can go such a long way to making all of the unfamiliar, and heavy pressure situations just a little bit easier. So
Wait, did you say roommates?
Yeah.
Like in life?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
In Bozeman, in Montana.
We got another great set of roommates on the tour.
Yeah, so Warren, young buck, kind of ready to go. Like I said, besties with Mon. And then Brian Stenerson, Tahoe rider. He's 35 years old. He's been kind of in and out of competitive freeride, came back in basically, mid-season, I was talking to Brendan Metzler, and Stenner was like, geez, it looks like I might actually make the tour here. Like, what am I going to do about that? And it's like, you're going to go and you're going to slay. So
he's going to take a sabbatical from his career,
yeah,
his job.
Totally. Yeah, so
that's the funny thing is he's not a young kid that can just do whatever. He's probably got like a life.
100%. Yeah. And he's just like, he's really good. Really, really good. So he kind of was in and out of competitive snowboarding and then went back in, full time, and earned his way onto the tour with his results in the Challenger, and now he's here to play with all the big guns. So really kind of cool to see that there's not just one way to do this. There's a bunch of different ways, and Stenerson definitely excited to mix it up with all of these riders.
And there's a solid list. One guy I want to point out, Liam Rivera. Some news with Liam. He was riding under the Mexican flag for the last several years, and he actually just this off-season switched over to the Swiss flag. So he's been living in Verbier for quite a while. He was raised there.
Yep.
So now he's competing under the Swiss flag. And you had an interesting point of view on that.
Well, yeah, it's I think it's the beginning of some of the connections to the FIS that are going to have some real positive outcomes for the athletes. Working under the Swiss Ski Federation, Liam's going to be getting funding as a professional athlete in Switzerland. So that's going to open a bunch of doors to training, to funding, to all kinds of stuff that can really help him pursue this as a true professional. So
yeah, a lot
that's
more opportunities from the Swiss Ski Federation than the Mexican Ski Federation.
I would imagine so, yeah, which is probably a big part of why Liam chose to make that switch over, because he was very proud to be riding under the Mexican flag. So I can't imagine he took this decision lightly. Mm-hmm. But for him this is a big opportunity to be able to approach this in a real professional manner. So I think it's quite cool that we're starting to see those trickle down effects from this partnership.
Right. And that's the second in 2 years that we've had. We had Max Hedvig go from the Austrian flag to the German flag.
Yep.
So that's snowboard men. We brought up Liam Rivera. Obviously, you got to pay attention to guys like Michael Mon, who's an event winner. Jonathan Penfield, who's been on the tour for quite a while, event winner as well.
Yeah.
So Holden Samuels.
Yeah. came on as a rookie last year. Another one who's kind of part of the crew with Warren Doyle and Michael Mon. So those guys all really close and are going to be excited to be all together. And then, of course, the champion, Ludo Giodiat. You know, Ludo's going to be looking to back that up. He's now got, I think, a bit of the monkey off his back of like, oh, yeah, not only do I belong here, but I'm the boss here.
So for this one, if I was a betting man, I would just not.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a tough one.
Anyways, there's a lot of parity. You don't know. Like, that's what I'm loving about the tour lately, is there isn't a standout in any of the categories.
Yeah, everybody's good. Everybody can have their day. There's certainly some people that we expect to see some big days from on competition day when it comes. But there's nobody who you're looking at and going, oh, they're a bit out of their depth here.
Our final category is ski men, starting with a familiar name on the wild card, and that is Mr. Abel Moga.
Yeah, Abel is a fan favorite. You know, he's the Spanish hero. He's taken on the mantle from Aymar Navarro. He studied under Aymar as a rider.
One of the only riders I've seen huck a front flip or attempt front flips in a long time.
He's got. I think he's one and one. You know.
That's the big. I remember seeing the first one. I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my god! No, what are you doing? Oh my god!"
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, and Abel, he tied for the last spot out of the challengers in Region 1, but on the count back of the most best results, because there's obviously the formula. We'll take these 3 results and we'll take
the last spot to get into the tour.
Yes. So
right. He wasn't last.
No, sorry. Yeah. Good,
right.
Good distinction.
Right.
But with that tie and with his sort of hero status in Spain, which is one of the key stops on the Freeride World Tour.
He's from Baqueira.
Yeah. An easy wild card for the tour management to make. To have Abel on the tour is only good. It's hugely beneficial. He's a regular provider of highlight reel moments. Every single time he pushes out of the start gate, is something cool, something wild is going to happen. Yeah, and it's definitely going to be exciting and fun to watch. So yeah, that's Abel Moga, and then another Spanish rider, Thibaut Magnin, coming right out of the slopestyle world. He is an Olympian in slope, but he's not. I guess like some of the other slope riders that we've seen transition into freeride. Like
Finn?
Well...
Ralph Welpelner?
Yeah, I guess maybe a bit... I'm using maybe more Ralph as the example. Thibaut's got a ton of off-piste experience. He's a great skier in the big mountain. He went down to New Zealand this summer to have a hand. While he's done a lot of freeriding, he hasn't done a lot of competitive freeriding. And did the 4-star down there in New Zealand and was on the podium. So he's no joke. So stylish. I think it's going to be really cool to watch him and Finn kind of battle for like who's the steeziest guy on the tour this year, you know, because the two of them are coming from that same background, Olympic.
We've also got a rookie by the name of Kendall Goodman, which we'll get into in a moment, who is a style god.
Yeah, he's going to be in the mix for that as well. It's actually cool. We're going to see.
He's that's the kind of guy you look at and you'd think he'd say, "My middle name is Steez." You know? Like, I don't know if I've seen a rider on the tour wearing Harlow gear, Henrik Harlow pants.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's awesome.
So we're jumping ahead here. So anyways, you're talking about, so style. So that's what we can look forward to with Thibaut, is some style.
Yeah, big style, big tricks, and not afraid to mix it up in the big terrain.
Nice. Rookies.
Well, we've still got a couple injuries. So
injury? Wow.
Yeah,
oh, yes.
Yeah,
I'm forgetting.
A couple injury wild cards. We got Dylan Flinders, the Utah boy, coming back. He broke his ankle before even the beginning of the tour last year.
There were so many last year.
There was, yeah.
3, 4?
Yeah. Yeah, in a bunch of the categories, we had riders that took themselves out before they were even able to get to Baqueira. So Dylan Flinders, riding out of Utah, he just fits the mold right now in the ski men category. Really strong big mountain chops and a super deep bag of tricks. So there's no telling what we're going to see from Dylan. He's a professional mountain bike racer in the off season.
Really?
So fit and strong, but yeah, it just seems to be like that's what you got to have now. It's not just one thing. It's that whole well-rounded deal,
right? Because you look at like Marcus Gauguin, like Wei Tian sponsored by a bike company. Like he's just as good on a bike as he is on skis, right? So that's kind of the evolution of this sport. It's not just people who are good at skiing; it's super athletes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And speaking of super athletes, our last injury wild card, this is a man who is
synonymous with the Freeride World Tour.
Totally. And in that Hall of Fame category that you put Victor in, Christopher Turdell, 2-time overall champion. He's a wizard on skis, and he got really sick last year and was, missed an event. So an injury wild card for someone like Turdell is, I think another pretty easy call for the Freeride World Tour management group. To have Turdell in the mix is key, and it almost wouldn't feel like the Freeride World Tour if Christopher Turdell is not on it. Yeah, and he's going to be coming into a bit of a unique and new position for him with Reyna gone. Turdell is the sort of senior spokesman now for the tour, for the ski men's category. And does that mean he has to start speaking? Yeah. He's such a quiet, just, reserved guy. He lets his skiing talk for him. Exactly. So now does he going to start speaking? Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe, right? Everybody takes that mentor role. Well, he already kind of has that mentor role. That, when, Carl would come on, it'd be him and Reyna and Carl. When Carl first came on the tour, they would kind of mentor him, but they're all good friends. So, Christopher is quiet, but he's not afraid to speak. No, for sure. When he's got something to say, everyone listens. Right. And he's going to be the senior spokesman now, and it's going to be great to have him on tour. He's so humble. He's like, oh, these new kids with all their tricks. I remember when I used to be good, and then he'll put down like a double backflip. Yeah, totally. You cannot count Turdell out, and he's so smooth, and his technique is just so on point, and his line selection ability. And that comes down to experience. 100%, right? Like that experience is unbelievably thought. I don't think we've spoken about it enough. I don't think we've spoken about it much, but just that variable of knowing, a face for one. Knowing just the competition, like how you are in competition as a person, like knowing your body, knowing your timing, knowing everything. It's just experience and knowledge is so valuable, which I think is kind of a secret key for him this year. Yeah. So we'll dive into the rookies, Region 1 rookies. We've got 2 Kiwis and a Swiss. So Ben Richards is another one just right on the mold for what it takes to be in competitive freeride this year. He's got so many great tricks. He's been another one who's been knocking on the door for a while. Ben Richards has been very high up in the challenger ranks year after year after year, so close. And he was like every comp putting it all on the line and putting down just mind-blowing stuff, and just didn't quite get it over the line. And last year, so exciting to see him kind of crack the code and jump in. The Kiwis have always been a force on the Freeride World Tour, and to see Ben finally get in and get amongst it is just going to be so exciting, because he's got everything it takes to do really well, to pull event wins. And with Craig Murray leaving, I think Ben Richards is the exact guy to step into fill that role. And we've got another Kiwi, another member of Team Useless, as they like to call themselves. Yeah, and another member of the team Rookie Not Rookie. Rookie Non-Rookies, yeah. Blake Marshall. He's the next not rookie on the tour. Yeah, earning his way back on. He was on the tour, he got cut, he was off, he was on the qualifiers, he was on the challenges, bang, he was back on the tour. Great to see Blake. He's another one who is just... like, he makes it fun to be there. Right. Every time you're with Blake, every time you have a conversation with him, you come away from it being like, hell yeah. That guy he's just like kind of glowing, everything. He just makes everyone around him a little bit better, a little bit happier. Right. Remember when his skis didn't arrive and he had to ski on Hedvig skis, that one competition a couple years ago? Yeah, in Ordino. And he didn't sweat it. No. He didn't sweat it. He just took it in his stride with a big smile on his face. Still did a massive backflip and a huge 360.
Maybe it was because it was Hedvig skis.
Yeah, probably. They weren't willing to stay right side up. But yeah, really sick to see Blake Marshall back on the tour, and a couple, 3 Kiwis now between Ben, Blake, and Finn Billis. So those guys well represented for. It's a small country with a huge freeride culture.
Yeah, which we've spoken about before, and give good big props to Dion Newport for kind of being that guy. He's like the guru of NZ free ski.
Totally.
Former FWT judge, but that guy runs that tour and puts everything into it, right? Like, he's sacrificed a lot. Like,
everything. Money
out of his own pocket, time, relationships, but because of that dedication, you have 3 people on the Freeride World Tour, but you got Kiwis every single year.
Yeah, that's 3 right now. I mean,
right? Champions,
yeah,
like event winners, champions. Like, so to not have Kiwis on the Freeride World Tour would not make sense to me.
No, and there's for Blake and Ben and Finn and Jess Hodder, Craig Murray, like, it goes way deeper. Like, now the up and comers coming out of the Kiwi world are so sick. So really looking forward to seeing what that little country is going to keep providing to us on the big stage.
I wonder if freeride skiing is like their second national sport. It's like rugby and then like freeride.
Oh, I mean, Kiwis are good at everything. They really are. Like, it's kind of exciting, and all of them are like, oh, I'm a pro skier and an engineer and a doctor, and they're just like overachievers across the board. So super sick to see those guys having success on this stage, and I can't wait to see what they're going to bring. So we move through or continue on with the rookies. We're still in Region 1. We've got 2 more guys to go. We've got the Swiss rider Martin Bender, junior freeride world champion. He's tricky. He's got the corks on lock. He's doing double backflips in his sleep. His run at the junior champs, his run in the Nanda freeride last year was insane. It went completely viral, the video. Martin Bender he's a force, and he's part of this new generation that's just charging into this freeride world tour with like no holds barred, and there's a bunch of them. We've got rookies out of Region 2 that are on the same page. I can't wait to see Martin on the tour. And then there's one more, and it's been a while, really since Yu Sasaki, we've been waiting for this guy to move on. But Tenra Katsuno, he's another guy that I met at World Juniors a bunch of years ago. Balls to the wall all the time. If you got to follow him on Instagram. It is the most entertaining follow you can find in the ski world. He's coming out of Niseko. He spends a bit of time in Europe. He spends a bit of time in North America. But Tenra is like, he's wild, and it's so much fun to watch. He'll flip and spin off the biggest cliffs. He's got all, again, he just right out of the freeride mold, like all the biggest tricks, totally comfortable on the big faces. Obviously loves skiing powder growing up in Niseko. And he was kind of banging on the door for a couple of years, but just like a few of these guys, he wasn't always putting runs down because he was only going for highlight
all or
reel.
nothing.
Yeah.
I'm going for points.
Yeah. I'm
not going to get in.
I'm not here for second. I'm here to make the highlight reel.
Yeah.
And he finally landed enough runs to do it, and now he's put himself in the mix with the biggest of the big dogs. So I can't. It's
great to have another Japanese rider back on the tour.
Yeah,
again.
It's huge. Yeah, because that scene is really vibrant.
I'd love to see him really kind of put his skis down to bolts, as you would say on the broadcast, and get to a point where maybe that is a catalyst to get the tour back in Japan again.
Yeah,
maybe we do 7 events.
There's no shortage of great places, and Hakuba was like a critical stop on the tour for a bunch of years, and then kind of went on pause with COVID, and really hoping that we see that back, because I think as much fun as it is to see Abel and Aymar ride in Spain, I think it would be equally as fun to see Tenra ride in Japan. I think that's those kind of home hero stories are
get you to come for an event wildcard.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So we've also got another couple rookies
from Region 2.
Region 2. Speaking of style and steez, Kendall Goodman.
Yeah, Kenny G. He's just like, he's a different breed.
He's so not the Freeride mold, but that's what's exciting.
Yeah, he definitely has, I'd say his heart is in the freestyle world, but being a Utah kid, he's really good friends with Ross Tester. When Ross went up to Utah for school, those guys skied all the time, even as juniors together. And Kendall he's just like a joy to watch. He goes huge all the time. His 360s have a style all their own, like the really dumped, really corked, feet super wide apart, like looking through the spin instead of like under an arm, it's like through the legs. He's so corked out. He's been up in Alaska skiing with Leif Muma, just in, the North American riders have been kind of chasing snow, trying to figure out where to go to find a bit of snow. And
Leif's a great guy to go with. That's somebody that I kind of wish was still on the tour. Hopefully he keeps going through the path to get back, because that guy can ski some big wild lines as well. So knowing that those guys are skiing together, it makes me excited.
Yeah, so really, really excited to see what Kendall's going to bring to the tour. He's just got a style all of his own, and his skiing kind of speak for itself. Jackson Bathgate, we were talking about siblings. We had his twin brother for a couple years on the tour, Cooper Bathgate, and Jackson, another former junior freeride world champion. As we look through, it seems specifically the ski men, the number of junior world champs that are making their way to the tour is kind of just proving the merit of the junior tour and that event specifically.
Why do you think that there's such a disproportionate amount of the male skiers that win the juniors on the tour versus like the male skiers versus the women snowboarders, women skiers, men snowboarders?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just sticking with it a little bit longer, or they're popping out. I mean, the three other men that are on the tour right now that have a world junior title are way younger. Marcus Gogan won it last year.
Yep.
Martin Bender won it the year before, and Max Palm won it the year before that. Jackson Bathgate, you're going back to 2016 for his junior worlds win. But a title's a title. And Jackson kind of took some time off. He had a back injury that he was really struggling with for a while. So he took some time off, not just competing, but skiing. And in the 2023 season, came back full force. And, he won the Challenger event on home court in Whistler, in Powder, and was right in the mix in the other ones. And so it's really sick to see him make his way kind of past some of these adversities to get his way onto the Freeride World Tour. And just like another sibling, like the sibling deal in the Freeride World Tour world is kind of insane.
Funny, like we've had two sets of twins from Whistler specifically.
Yeah, the Pifers and the Bathgates,
right?
And then all of these siblings, the Mollers, the Nichols, the Pollards. There's a ton of them.
De La Rue's, like it's pretty cool, right? It's like, I guess it's true. If you come from a skiing family, you come from a skiing family.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Snowboarding too.
Snowboarding too. Yeah, the Mollers. Yeah, right. Exactly. Pardon me. I'm a little biased because I don't snowboard. Yeah. So we got a couple more.
Yeah, a couple more rookies coming out of Region 2. We've got Colton Schaff, who took the overall title on the Challenger Tour in Region 2 in 2023. He's, he did it. He won the tour. So what more can you say? Colton's another one who's not from the traditional sort of path that a lot of the new riders are taking. He didn't really compete as a junior. He did one, but around 18 he was like dabbling really, and took some time off to go to school, earned himself a master's degree in civil engineering. Like,
for real?
Yeah, he's again like one
another
of these
engineer,
overachievers in this freeride world. But he's the North American Region 2 champion for ski men, and he's coming onto the tour with just a fresh mindset of I want to ski with these people. He's really excited about the prospect of kind of skiing with some of the people that he's been looking up to for a long time. Real close ski buddies with both Xander Gouldman and Jed Kravitz. Skiing in the Tahoe area, based in Bozeman right now. But yeah, I'm psyched to see him kind of bring some of that heat that he brought on the Challenger Tour onto the Freeride World Tour this year.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, Colton's bringing the thunder for sure.
All right, we got one more.
One more, yeah, another one out of the Whistler Freeride Club, and another young kid just coming straight out of juniors into the mix. Wei Tien Ho, Canadian kid, grew up in Whistler, and was just thunder on the Challenger Tour last year. He actually earned a wild card. He wasn't able to get into 4-star events last year. Got a wild card to to Revelstoke, and then it didn't run. And then he was kind of out of luck after that because he didn't have the junior points to get himself into the 4-stars. IFSA offered him a wild card into the Challenger because basically of his pedigree. He was filming with TGR, and that both IFSA and FWT are looking for tour ready riders.
Yeah, he's like best friends with Marcus Gauguin, who we all know what he did last year. And like in a little side story, the Kicking Horse event that the year before had that crazy wind come in and ruin the face, and they decided that they were going to transfer over to the other face, and everybody was kind of all down in the dumps, like, oh, this is BS. All the riders, everybody's just really not having it. We all gathered at the bottom of the new venue. Wei Tien came through as a forerunner and absolutely shredded the crap out of that face, to the point when he got to the bottom, he completely turned the vibe around for that entire week.
Yeah.
Everybody stood up. They're like, whoa, that was sick. Holy smokes. He turned that whole week around with that one run as a forerunner.
Yeah.
So like you said, he's got the pedigree. He's ready to go. So that makes tons of sense to me.
Well, and just in like, I guess a show of character, if you want to call it, Wei Tien didn't actually feel comfortable with the Challenger wildcard and managed to get in last minute to the 4-star at Crystal, and he won.
Yep.
With probably the move of the year in Region 2, with a 360 off the Lone Tree or One Tree Air at Crystal on the King, and with that win, earned a spot into the Challenger, where he then went on to earn a spot on the Freeride World Tour. So he wasn't really, he felt like he didn't deserve a wild card, which is, he's another one of these riders that just doesn't believe the hype around them.
Right.
But we certainly do.
Yeah.
And so this field is insane. It's so stacked with talent. Valley Rayner holding that title and looking across at the rest of the field, every single one of them now has a deep bag of tricks, the total ability to charge in big terrain, and the hunger to get it done. So Ski Men is just a complete coin toss of who's going to take any event.
It's insane. Like last year, who would have thought Valentin Rayner was gonna come out and win the event, win the tour, let alone an event here and there. Like, he took a huge step forward. There's Oscar Mandan, who he's like, that guy's going to be a sleeper threat. Everybody on this roster is scary good.
Yeah, you got the 3 Maxes.
Yeah.
Maxime Chablot, Max Palm, and Max Hitzig. Hitzig picked up a Red Bull helmet, so all three Maxes of them, now on Red Bull.
Yeah.
They're
not making it easy to discern apart, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then you got another one of the sort of elder statesmen, I guess, at 27 years old in APOL, Andrew Pollard. He's always looking around going, oh, these kids are doing such crazy stuff. And then he pulls out a win in Fieberbrunn. Like, there's nobody you can sleep on in the category.
No, absolutely no one. So that wraps up a long episode, but it's important. This is always the probably the most popular episode, because this is an opportunity for you guys listening to get to know all these riders a little bit closer. So thanks for tuning in to the Freeride Guide podcast with myself and Derek. Thanks, Derek. This is pretty much your podcast. You just spoke for like an hour and 20 minutes. So I appreciate you for this and all the knowledge and just your stoke for this sport.
Like, oh, man, I'm so excited.
Everything that you do with not only your job, but for what you want to do outside of your work has something to do with skiing and freeride. Like, it's just, you've managed to turn your passion into your job. I think that's what I was trying to say. So I respect you and I appreciate you for
Mark.
that.
I appreciate that.
Because I get someone to talk freeride too. And for you folks that are listening, we want to talk to you about it as well. So send us an email to freerideguidepodcast.com. And if you agree with anything that we've said, if you disagree with anything that we've said today, if you want to make a point of something that we didn't bring up, do that. Send us that email. Go to the podcast app that you're listening to right now and hit that subscribe button. We want to build a big community and we want you involved in it. Another way we can do that is for you to join us in the Peak Performance Fun Bet. We're going to set up a league within it. It's basically like FWT Fantasy League. We had our own individual league within the whole program last year, and Derek and I were not good.
Not good.
You crushed me though. I was like falling behind quite. Like, you'd think that we would do better with the knowledge that we have, the insider information. Like,
it just goes to show how wide open it really is in every single category.
Yeah. So if you think you know more than us, we want you to join us on the Peak Performance Fun Bet. We're going to set it up as the Freeride Guide League within the Fun Bet. It might be Freeride Guide Podcast League, but it'll be in there. We want you to join us. We'll have some links and things available. But I, for one, am really excited about this season. The roster, like we said, the changing of the guard has been changed.
The guard has changed, and the new guard is here, and they are as ready as they could ever be to just throw down. And
we're into a brand new era of
blow
free
the
ride.
doors off. Yeah, big time.
Brand new era of free
across
ride.
all four categories. It's there's exciting young guns. There's a few veterans that are looking to, claw their way to hold on to their spots, but it's here and it's exciting.
It is exciting. So make sure that you guys pay attention, hit those subscribe buttons, follow along with us, and make sure you're watching those events and listening to my man, Mr. Derek Foose, here on the mic for the Freeride World Tour events. Thanks for being here, everybody, and we will talk to you soon.
This has been a RedMark Media production.